Okay, so you've watched part one, which was on fanboys and semicolons. Part two was all about subordinating conjunctions. And part three is on prepositional phrases and participial phrases. What the heck are those, right? So first of all, just like subordinating conjunctions, there's a formula to this. And I want you to start thinking about English and writing as very formulaic. It's very structured, just like formulas in math. So in this case, the formula is with prepositions. A preposition is a word that shows spatial or directional words. For example, anything you can do to a cloud is a good example. You can go through a cloud, around a cloud, over a cloud, under a cloud. They're spatial, they're directional, right? In, up, down, around, those kind of words. Go online and print out a whole list of prepositions. Wouldn't be a bad idea. But if you start a sentence with a preposition, just like a subordinating conjunction, it will trigger a comma because it signals where the real sentence begins and the extra added prepositional phrase that you're tacking onto the beginning of the sentence. So the comma in this case isn't showing relationships as much as it is separating the prepositional phrase from the real sentence, the blue part from the purple part, right? In the dark and murky water, comma, they could barely see the shark. The student probably started out with they could barely see the shark. That was the sentence. And they decided to tack on this prepositional phrase to the beginning of it. The phrase cannot stand alone as a sentence. Okay, some of you will learn that this is what's known as a dependent clause. I hate using those terms because I used to find them confusing. But if you learned it that way, then that's what this is. The blue part cannot stand alone as a sentence. It's tacked onto the real sentence, which is in purple. Most of us would say it the reverse. We would say, they could barely see the shark in the dark and murky water. But in writing, we have the option to reverse the order of the words and create these complex sentence structure. And this helps to break up the monotony of the way that we write versus the way that we talk. It changes up the vibe or the rhythm of the sentence. So the next one is on verbal phrases, which are known as participial phrases. And a participle is just another fancy term for a verb. And basically, the easiest way I can teach this to you is to use your hints and clues. So in this case, a word that ends with an ed or a word that ends with ing are indicators of verbs, right? You're frightened, you're swimming. If this is the superhero essay, you could be flying, you could be soaring, you could be jumping, punching, kicking. Think about the action verbs you will need for your fight scene. So what this is doing is the blue parts of the sentence is the actual real sentence. That's the actual sentence. And the student went back in the revision and added a part to it in the beginning that started with an ed ending word or an ing ending word. And they thought about a whole list of ed ending words and a whole list of ing words so that they can create these phrases, these participial phrases that they added to their actual real sentences in their essay. So we looked at this one, frightened by sharks, I started to scream, right? Normally we would say, I started to scream because I was frightened by the sharks. But you can use a participial phrase that frightened with the ed ending and frightened by what? By the sharks. And then you put a comma to separate the participial phrase from the actual sentence in blue. That's why the comma is there, to separate the real sentence from the ed ending word phrasey thing that you're trying to emphasize why the heck you screamed. Same thing with this one. Swimming in shark-infested water, I knew my life was in danger. Right? So this is an ing ending word starting that phrase, and the comma is helping to tack it onto the real sentence that's in blue, known as an independent clause. Because we don't speak this way, these are the most complex sentences, but I want you to really think about the words of ed ending words and how you can create these sentence structures. And you can pause this right now and just kind of look at how this sentence structure is created. and how I can even make it more complex by throwing in a fanboys and adding another sentence to it, connecting it with the fanboys. This is the same with ing ending words. And again, this is a formula, right? It's an ing ending word that creates a fragment phrasey thing that you tack on to the real sentence that's in blue. But I do want you to notice that the ing word can also be what's known as a gerund, and that does not require a comma at all. So they're very different. They're two different things. See, swimming in shark-infested water is dangerous and frightening is a very different sentence from looking in the rearview mirror, the burglar saw the cops' lights flashing behind them. Those are two very different sentences. The ing word in swimming in shark-infested water is dangerous. The swimming part is the action, is the actual subject, and is becomes the verb. They go together. Swimming is dangerous and frightening. Swimming in shark-infested water is dangerous and frightening. It's a different sentence structure. So know the difference. So knowing the formula, right, helps you practice and get experience with this sentence structure. So try to create your own. Really try to create it. Thanks for watching.